everybody. So it's been quite a while. It's been hot and we've both been busy. I've been getting little things done here and there. We got new lights in the shop, lots of light. The doors are open now, but yeah, so I've been spending like an hour here, an hour there on the truck. Half hour here, half hour there, really. Made some progress. So Bill and I just took the tank out. So I figured we'd just do a real quick video here and give you guys a quick update. Fuel system, it's halfway done. Everything under the hood is done. I'll give you a quick tour of that. We just dropped the tank. I had this new tank all ready to go. Got a new pickup. The pump is in the tank. This tank is required because when you go fuel injection, you need a tank that's got a sort of a sump in the bottom of the tank, a baffle almost, so you don't run out of fuel. If you're low on fuel in this tank and you go around a corner or up a hill or down a hill, you might lose fuel. So this will get fuel all the time, even if there's a little bit only in the tank. Same tank size. It's a long bed, so I get the bigger tank. That'll all bolt right up. We got, oh, I swallowed a bug.
Hit a bug.
We got everything labeled. The difference there on the power is that the old tank only had the sending unit, like for the fuel level, as well as ground. This one has a ground, the sending unit wire, as well as 12 volts for the pump. We tested all that. What I like to do when I'm doing swaps is to leave the new tank on the ground, a bunch of extra fuel line for supply and return, and then I wire it up, just hook it up to a battery, make sure that the lines don't leak. That way there's no surprises later. Then I leave it on the ground till I test fire the truck. Once I know it's good and nothing's leaking, everything's how I want it to be, the gauge is working, all that stuff, then I put it all back up in there because I don't want to do it more than one time. I don't have any of the gauges done, no heavy wiring inside the cab is done yet, so I'm looking to do things one time. That tank is probably, I don't know, half full. The old one, it's ethanol free fuel, it's fine, hasn't been here for that long. We're gonna pump that out into a tank. And then, actually, we might as well just pump it right into this tank, I guess. I don't know, we'll figure it out. Because I do want to test the fuel system. So
we'll put a gallon or something in here.
Yeah.
We'll leave it light.
Yeah.
So
just to make sure that the system isn't leaking. Yeah,
no
exactly.
leaks.
So anyway, we'll get to it. I'll show you real quick everything that I've done under the hood. I have made some good progress. So I'll take you in there now. All right, so you can see I've made quite a bit of progress. I temporarily have the air intake on there. This is the same exact setup that I used in the white truck, but we're gonna just kind of replicate it here. So this will come off. I did buy an adapter instead of repinning for the mass airflow this time to get 5 wires there instead of just 2 separate plugs. It's maybe not as clean, but I'm gonna zip tie it up. You won't see it anyway. I'm going to use the hard line from the tank, and I've got my AN fittings on there, and this is where I want to check for leaks. And then the line comes across and goes up and in with all of the Hydro Boost setup. It comes around and goes into more AN fittings that snap onto the fuel rail right there. Alternator obviously is in. I've got the battery is here, but only the ground is hooked up. I like to use this factory junction box. I think it looks nice and clean. So I picked up the factory wiring too, which is nice and clean also. This guy will go all the way down and around to the starter. Super clean, just looks factory. The headers are on. I think we saw that in the last video. We got all the wiring done under the hood. All the sensors are hooked up. I mean, everything is good here. Power steering pump is there. I still have to put the pulley on it. Balancer doesn't have a bolt yet, but it's on and set. Then I've got the air conditioner compressor on.
Notched the frame.
And I notched the frame out.
Nice clean job.
Sometimes you have to notch the frame. Sometimes you don't have to notch the frame. On this truck I did, even though I'm using the Scotty Backus's
motor mounts,
whatever that company. What is the name of that company? I forget already. It does Tejas mounts, and it's fine. It doesn't really matter. I didn't take a lot off, and then I cleaned it up with this this
Edge
nice
guard.
rubber edge guard,
Worked out good.
which clips on there. So yeah, it's nice and clean. In fact, I use that same rubber edge guard down here just to keep the filter off. Again, the filter's not going to stay here. Once I put the shroud and the hoses for the water heater on, everything's good. So what's left under here is water heater. I probably won't get to it today. I really just wanted to check the fuel system today.
Water pump.
Sorry, did I say water
It's
heater?
all good.
Yeah, water pump.
You're thinking in the house. We're done in there.
Okay, we'll get the water pump on. That moves the heat, so it's not really
Yes,
a water
there you go.
heater. It's a
Absolutely. Water cooler.
pump. Yeah. Air conditioner, I'm not terribly worried about now. We'll get there. So we are just super close and closer every time I work on the truck to getting this thing fired. We'll get the pump on, get the belts on, bolt the balancer in, put the pulley on. The power steering pump, but I mean,
Test
we're
fuel
close.
pressure
Yeah,
and-
so I'm going to test fuel pressure today just by putting 12 volts to the pump and letting it fire. But other than that, we are making tremendous progress. So let's get to the fuel system.
We're going to push the fuel out of this tank with a little air pressure. So we're just going to get a couple clamps and clamp off these hoses. And I'll block this bung with my finger. We're going to take a rag, put on here. Just use light air pressure inside here. We'll have a hose running out into the can. It's an easy way to get gas out of a tank without having an electric pump. Just need a little air pressure. And without you needing gravity.
You guys know that Bill saw Dumb and Dumber for the first time last night? My mind was
I
blown when
loved
he
it. It
told
was
me.
a riot. Never seen it before.
Guy lives under a rock or something.
I know, right?
It's like a classic, American classic.
Lived in the back hills of Pennsylvania. Now we
Pennsylvania.
need our little piece of hose. Going to drop our hose down in the tank.
Yeah, we might block this, huh?
Yep. Hold that with your finger. I'm going to put this hose into the jug. And we just take a little rag. I'm just going to put light pressure in the tank. And it'll push the fuel right into our red jug for us. There it comes. Hold on, I gotta move.
Let me get a bigger hose.
All right, we're gonna try a bigger hose. This is a little too slow. That's what I'm talking about. We're gonna pull the straps off the old tank. A little lighter, easier to handle. Watch, might be hot.
No, it's all right.
Hot nut.
All right, so there is a front and a back to these. So this is the back. You want to grab that
Yep.
and put it in, towards
stick
the
it
back,
at the back
of the
wheel?
truck.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good?
Yep.
Little stone guard?
Yeah, now this truck had this plastic stone guard on it. I actually don't like running these because,
Trap stuff in there.
yeah, the stones, the stones that it's trying to protect against just sit inside of there,
Stones, mud, whatever.
whatever it is.
Mhm.
So I don't know. We probably won't run it in this truck, but we'll see. All right, that'll help a little bit. There's some crap in there.
Yep. Not a whole lot left.
That's good.
That's it.
I got it.
Yeah, we actually only had maybe a half a gallon in there.
All right, so for those who have never used AN adapter fittings. This is a 6AN. They are tapered and flared, so you don't need to use thread tape. This one is a 1/4 inch actually, because this truck for return has 1/4 inch line. So let me put this one down. Basically, this fitting comes off. Then you've got your hard line that comes from the front of the truck to the back, and it was just using rubber with hose clamps on it to go to the old pickup. The problem is this is higher pressure. You can flare those lines, and in fact I did this on the white truck. You can flare the lines and just use a fuel injection clamp. They work fine. This one I'm going to try to do it, quote, the right way. And basically this piece slides, over the fuel line, and then you've got this brass crush ring that slides over that and inside here, and then this piece goes here. So now the line goes through the back of this piece and the crush ring in the middle. Then when you crank this together, it crushes that brass ring and actually creates a, theoretically a tight seal. I have lots of problems with these leaking. We'll find out. Now, on the tank, and I'll take you into the tank, I bought this pickup, the fuel sending unit, excuse me, and inside mounted to this is the electric fuel pump. So again, we've got 3 wires. We've got a positive that goes 12 volts to the pump. We've got the purple wire, which is my sending unit, tells the fuel gauge how much fuel there is in the tank. And then we've got a ground that goes right to the frame. Then what I have done here is, believe it or not, I bought the wrong tank. It's fine. It'll work just fine. The reason I say it's the wrong tank, it belongs on the opposite side of the truck so that these are facing towards the middle. This is going on the passenger side. I don't want to put it over there, and I don't have the right brackets anyway. This was a dual tank truck at one time. Either I did or somebody, I don't remember, removed the driver's side tank and only kept the passenger side. Fine. So this is shooting now towards the frame rail or towards the outside of the truck, so I need to loop the fuel back around and then hit the hard line, which is on the inside of the frame rail here. So really, I just am going to use a short piece of rubber to go from this AN fitting, which is barbed, and then I still stick fuel injection clamp on that. And then this piece we were just talking about slides on the fuel rail, and it takes another barb like this one, and then you just barb the two together. Again, you can cut and just flare the fuel line on the inside of the truck and then just use those clamps. It will work just fine. But we're going to try this, and when it leaks, we'll pull it off and we'll flare the line instead. Okay, underneath everything is plumbed here. So again, you can flare. This is the return on the top, the supply on the bottom. You can just flare, cut and flare these lines, or even from the factory, they have this flare. That probably is enough. And then you just use these fuel injection clamps, and you probably could be fine. But for the sake of people telling me I'm doing it wrong, I put them on. So don't tell me I did it wrong. But I still probably did, because I didn't use crimp connections to, you know, whatever. This is fine. These are barbed very tight. You can't even pull them off with a bunch of force. So that'll be fine. So right now we're going up and over the fuel rail. This wire here is to go to the fuel gauge. I'm not concerned about that at the moment. And then we come out of the fuel rail and into the tank. And then, like I said, the fuel sending unit I bought already comes plumbed up for AN fittings. So we just zip up them the other side. Then our wires we've got coming down here, I've got my ground and a positive connected to these alligator clips. We've got this very special and specific fuel pump testing battery that we're just gonna hook up. So Bill, if you want to do that, and then everything is plumb. So in theory, before you do that, we should get 12 volts firing the pump inside. I already tested it, does work. What I have not tested though is that the fuel runs all the way through and then all the way back again. So I don't know. And there could be valves and stuff that I'm not aware of, but let's just try it and see where we get fuel leaking from. Pump's running.
Yes, it is.
I've got no leaks here. Not that I can feel anyway. No leaks here. So maybe what I'll do now is pop off the fitting here for the supply, make sure we're actually getting fuel through it at a good rate into a bucket. And then, well, actually we could just leave that and we could just pop off the return and put it in a bucket and see if we're getting fuel all the way back through again. So we'll test that real quick. Okay, so we realized we didn't have enough fuel in the tank. I forgot we really only put like half a gallon in there.
Yeah.
So it definitely needs more than that. So I poured all of that, and that was probably 4 gallons.
Yeah, I think so.
And then we got like 4.5-ish gallons in the tank now. So we're good. I have pulled off the return line from the tank, and it's in the can now. So Bill's going to go ahead and fire that up. Try not to make too many sparks around open fuel containers.
Exactly. Well, I have my safety shoes on, don't worry.
Yep, me too. Safety
Glasses.
Crocs. And you can see, maybe. There we go. All right, you can see now we are pumping fuel all the way through. So remember, the truck's not running. The injectors are closed, so the fuel is going into the fuel rails, but then right back to return. So we've got good pressure, doing exactly what I expect it to do. So we'll put the return back on there, pump all the fuel back out of this tank into this can, seal it up, and at this point I think we actually can just mount it since we know that the fuel is not leaking. I did get underneath and I checked all the fittings, everything's dry. You can actually hear, probably not through the microphone, but you can actually hear up here the fuel running through, and it's nice and cold because the gas is flowing through it, but it's good. I've got the hard line to rubber right there, and yes, I probably should have extended the soft or the hard line, but I got news for you. The white truck over there, that's rubber, fuel injection, ethanol capable fuel injection lines, rubber from the tank all the way to the engine. So I'm fine. One thing I do need to do is cut the line here and pop a fuel filter in it because I'm not running a filter at all right now. So brand new tank, filtered fuel before we put it back in the tank. I'm okay for now, but I definitely don't want to run it without a funnel or without a filter. So anyway, we can check the fuel system off now of the list, and we're just going to let that thing pump out back into the tank and we'll be good to go. So in the next video, we'll jump on electrical,
Water pump.
water pump, probably be done by the time we come back. Nobody
Lower
cares
pulley
about seeing
bolt.
that. Yeah, we'll get all that stuff wrapped up and then start tackling all the electric stuff, get all the wiring done, and then fire it and drive it. Okay, that's it. Quick update, but thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. See you guys on the next one.